members of the armed forces and their dependents. Our welfare officer, Alan Scott, who lives in St Ives, will contact or visit when informed of a person who needs support. At the moment, he only has Margaret Shardow and Monica Thompson, who lives in St Ives, another women's section member, who may continue with visits or telephone contact if the person needs company or help with shopping or such like. There are courses available to help prospective welfare supporters. Our standard bearer can be asked to attend a funeral of either retired or present military personnel. Normally he is supported by other members of the Legion. Last year it was wonderful to be asked to attend a party to celebrate World War veterans Reginald Milne's 100th birthday. This was in St Ives. I did pop it in our article in Spectrum, and it was also in the Hunt Post with photographs, because it's also, sorry, this is a bit extra. But it was just it was fantastic to be able to actually carry the RBL standard. Okay, I was carrying the women's section standard, but to actually carry a standard at such a joyous occasion. You know, and also there were some members of RF Whitton Area Voluntary Band there, and oh, sorry, I can't remember his name now, but a representative from the engineers from RF Whitton. So that was really a joyous occasion. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what we do. St Ives Women's Section are back to meeting on the second Monday of each month at the Ivy Leaf Club in Broadleys at 11 o'clock. We've changed it to an evening meeting, from an evening meeting I should say. This is an opportunity to meet up and make friends whilst having a tea, coffee and biscuit and sometimes cake. In the past there have been outings and joining other Huntingdonshire RBL women's sections to support their fundraising or join their celebratory party. These activities will start up again once restrictions and members feel comfortable to participate. Women's section also organised Poppy Bingo to support the annual Poppy Appeal. That will advertise that in Spectrum. The St Ives branch members meet monthly, but purely to discuss business matters. That's separate from the women's section, although now the women's section and branch are pretty much amalgamated. Naturally, RBL members will be contributing to the Platinum Jubilee celebrations in St Ives. I had been standard bearer for the Fenstanton and Hilton RBL until autumn of last year, after sustaining an injury. We are extremely fortunate in that Michael Paver has volunteered to take my place. He did actually carry the Fenstanton Hilton standard at Fenstanton, because we always alternate between the two villages. So now, membership of Fenstanton Hilton RBL, now I'm glad you're sitting down, consists of 3 of us. Margaret Shardow, Michael Paver and myself. Granted, there are no members living in Fenstanton, but I have arranged to speak at Fenstanton's Parish Council next month, just basically to try and see if we can get some more members. So please do think, at least inquiring about joining us. I think both you all know Margaret and I, and spread the word, because we're desperate. Because really, you know, we're not going to exist much longer if we don't get more people. If you have any questions, please do ask. Hilton, just touching on the Poppy Appeal, Hilton totally amazes Margaret and I each year by villagers' generosity during Poppy Appeal. Last year we had about 20 collectors but more helpers are always welcome to lighten the load. And it's absolutely astonishing that last year's poppy appeal, this village raised £1,515.45. So absolutely huge, colossal thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Julia and Margaret for carrying on doing such a great job.
Two pairs of glasses, let me know which ones are right. Can I just put them first? Based on what Julie decided how she felt we would present this to you, we thought it might be an idea for you to have something of an understanding about our poppy appeal year, which actually starts, from our point of view, around June or July. So that this June or July we will have to be ordering what we will need for the poppy appeal. Then comes August and September, so some of the things that we've ordered will be being delivered, and we'll start just asking our collectors, are you happy to carry on? So we're into September now. October, the boxes and tins come out of my garage. I've got 7 at the moment. Boxes, big boxes like that with the tins and the boxes in. They come into my house and we have a whole day, don't we, Julie? All on my extended dining table, and we have to put on the boxes, we have to have the little label up there which has the correct number, which will correspond with the actual collector. So that takes more or less a day. All of this has to be recorded on official forms as well, which is what Julie mainly does. So then we have the tins that have to have their little stickers that you put the money into, which again has the numbers. They alter every year for security purposes. Then we have to deliver the boxes to the collectors. After Remembrance Sunday, then we have to collect the boxes back. We have to take all the sticker items off, ready for next year. Then there's the monies, which obviously, technically, we should have to take them, all the tins, up to some place in Peterborough, Julie, isn't it?
Peterborough, okay.
Yeah, somewhere like that, where the money is counted, but in actual fact we are allowed to have a supervised opening of the tins. They're called tins, but they're actually plastic. And all the denominations have to be put in their own sets. So that takes quite a while. And then the forms have to be completed, and then we repack the tins back into my garage again. So, you know, it isn't just arriving at your doors, but as Julie says, we're extremely grateful to the collectors. They're just magnificent people. They come up every year. Last year we said, are you happy to do it? Yep. Every one of them said it. So we were really, really grateful. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Glasses, Margaret? Have a set of.
They're never where they should be.
Julie, you'd like to talk about the Hilton Wildlife Conservation Group?
Yeah. Okay, the Hilton Rural Wildlife Conservation Group no longer exists, but there's some money left over, and this is why I thought it'd be a nice idea to advise people about it and go public. Well, I've gone semi-public already. Just briefly, a little bit of history about Hilton Rural Wildlife Conservation Group. The group was formed in March 2001. The aims were to actively encourage wildlife within Hilton's boundaries and encourage interest in the range of wildlife around us. A committee was formed. Our activities included organising talks by our own visiting speakers, sometimes walks around the village looking at tree species. That was led by Dr. Michael Way, bless him. Fungi, We visited Monarch Farm, we visited Paxton Pits to hear the nightingale sing. Pat Graham, our chairman, applied for grants to help purchase tools and insurance for our working parties. I think we might have even had a grant from the Hilton Town Trust. I wasn't involved.
I'm not sure I've got the history
Yeah.
far back to.
So that's all right then. But anyway, we had quite a few, couple of grants and bought a range of tools. All the tools since the group disbanded have now been placed with Kieran Dunk. He very kindly agreed to look after them for us. And then since the formation of the Community Garden Committee, they have now got the tools that they can use in the garden. Because basically it seemed a shame for, after all the hard fundraising, etc., for the tools to go outside the village. And we did sort of secretly hope that maybe somebody else would like to take on, because we also did a lot of working parties, which also helped to save the Parish Council some money. Before starting working parties, we invited Roland Fletcher. At the time, he was a ranger at Paxton Pits, to come and demonstrate how we should safely use the tools. And that was very successful. We arranged fundraising events because also we needed to pay for insurance in case of any injuries to our volunteers coming to work for us, and also if we did any damage, which we didn't. So the fundraising events were fun quizzes, raffles, coffee mornings, etc. This helped us to expand our range of tools. Things went very well with lots of interest, but that declined when members moved away, well, you know the way life is. Unfortunately, by March 2006, attendance at working parties and talks had diminished, and the committee was also greatly reduced. We decided to disband the group. All funds were transferred to a deposit account at that time. Time passed and the funds stood at £1,000. And last year, as the last chairman, I discussed with the previous committee members who were left in the village what should be done with the funds. We had hoped that another group of villagers may like to form a similar group. We approached the village garden committee, Heather and Aileen, and Hilton Parish Council. The village garden committee suggested planting wildflowers, e.g. British bluebells and wild garlic, in several different areas. Heather checked, of course, various areas that Heather and the garden committee had come up with come under different sort of controls, so we needed permission. Heather gained permission from Hilton Parish Council to do some planting in the Grove area, just adjacent to the playground.
Yes.
So it was end of January, 100 British bluebells and 50 wild garlic were ordered. This cost £100, so there's still sort of £900 in the kitty. Heather James arranged for 10 members of the village garden group to plant the bulbs and have labelled the area so people know what's there. Heather is waiting for permission to plant bulbs adjacent to the flyover of the new A14. We are waiting to see if the bulbs establish in the Grove area before possibly ordering more for the Grove. During discussions, going back to last year, when we were looking for ideas of how to spend this 1,000. In light, particularly keeping to heart the ethos and what Hilton Rural Wildlife Conservation Group stood for. The late Dr. Michael Way suggested we purchase a bench to be positioned by the bridge between the wilderness and the football pitch. I think there was a bench there previously until it was vandalised. We approached Hilton Parish Council with an offer of purchasing a recycled plastic bench in keeping with the ethos of the conservation group and asking their permission to place it. Hilton Parish Council stated that they wanted us to buy a stylish oak bench for that purpose. The former members are refusing this and have asked Hilton Parish Council to reconsider our generous offer. Due to the restraints of Parish Council legislation, this is countrywide, this manor cannot be revisited by Hilton Parish Council until May this year, which I believe it is being done so.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, people.
Thank you, Julie.
Any questions or suggestions, please just speak to me.
Thank you. Nicola, Hilton Feast Week Committee.
Just a short one for me. So I'm changing hats now, putting my Chair of Feast Week Committee hat on. So we ran a successful Feast Weekend last year, and so thanks go to everyone for their support and for everyone that volunteered to help. Particular thanks have to go to the Town Trust, who provided us with the financial security to put an event on in confidence during some really uncertain times. So this year, the marquee is coming back. So we are planning to run a full Feast Week. So dates for your diary are Feast Week will be Sunday the 24th to Saturday the 30th of July. Plus we have our Easter egg hunt coming up on Easter Saturday and the Platinum Party at the Pavilion, which is going to rival the Platinum Party at the Palace, obviously, on Saturday the 4th of June. So the theme for Feast Week this year will be Go Wild. So dig out your animal prints and let's show us what Hilton can do. We're running a competition for a child to design the front cover for our programme. So if you've got anyone that would keen artists that would like to enter, the form is available on our website. So we're looking forward to seeing some wonderful entries for that. One of our main sources of income is still the 200 Club. So you've got to be in it to win it. So if you would like to join, you can do so on our website. And hopefully we will see you all at Feast Week.
Especially on Wednesday the 27th of July.
Ooh.
For the bingo evening. Called by... what are you calling that? Yes. Been a long time since we've done it.
You've got how to.
On a personal note, I was very ill after last time I did a bingo evening. Right. Next up I have a report from Liz for the Village Hall Management Committee. I wanted to make sure it was the right wording. Hilton Village Hall Management Committee. She apologises for not being here, but she's still at work. The last year has continued to have its challenges for the Village Hall Committee, as it has for all charitable groups. The Village Hall was eventually able to reopen its doors in September 2021, having been closed since March 2020 due to COVID restrictions. We were very pleased to welcome back the majority of our hirers, with some new groups joining us, which is always encouraging. Fundraising generally is certainly not back to its pre-COVID status, and the Village Hall Committee continue to actively apply for and have been successful in receiving grant funding support for the general upkeep and running of our public buildings. The festive season allowed us to again celebrate Christmas as a community with another magnificent Christmas tree, very generously donated by a Hilton villager and festooned with lights, proudly standing as a beacon of hope for normal times to return. One of our committee members scripted and directed another incredibly successful pantomime for the total enjoyment of the village, and the monies raised are going to the upgrade of our courtyard garden, hopefully in time for the Platinum Jubilee this summer. Many thanks to Helen and Ken Atwood for this huge improvement to the Village Hall. We have many plans for improvements and events as we slowly reopen to full capacity for the village, and look forward to welcoming you all to some of our Platinum Jubilee events in June. You don't need to really know about the plumber coming or the caretaker about the ants. No, okay. So that's from Liz. Next is Ken Atwood, who's going to talk to us about Hilton Action on Traffic.
Do you mind if I stay here?
I don't mind. Fully understandable.
If you go out into the courtyard at the moment, we've been out there today planting. There's a load of troughs out there, so it's all been started. It's all been power washed and all it's been graded, and it's all starting to look really nice up there. Thanks to Ellen and Margaret's planting today, by the way.
Very smart. We're going to sneak peek earlier.
So, I'd just like to talk to you about HAT. Probably a lot of you don't even know that we still exist. But HAT was started by a passionate villager by the name of Bill Alfred. And Bill was instrumental in starting and getting the partial ban of traffic through the village at night, and he was also instrumental in getting the speed restricting from 40 down to 30 through the village. He's obviously since moved on, and he now lives on the east coast, but occasionally he still inquires on how things are going in the village and whether or not we've been successful or not. So we've been able to tell him that
Oh, good.
we have eventually got what he started to get. HAT is obviously Hilton Action on Traffic. We tend to work by a small group of people. We do an awful lot of work with, if we notice or see or get any information from anyone in the village that certain vehicles are breaking the restrictions or going down Gravy Way or the High Street, if they can provide the registration number and any identification of the vehicle, then I will write to the companies involved, and we do get some very interesting results from that type of work. As you may know, HAT was responsible for an application to the County Council on an LHI bid for the SID devices, which are at each end of the village, which now monitor the traffic on a daily basis. It monitors the traffic flow, what types of vehicles are going through, the speeds throughout the village, and like Bill Alford, there's another stalwart of the village who's responsible for the bid and for the collection of all the data every week, come rain or shine, and along with all the battery changes which need to be done, and that's of course Andy Bush. Without his tenacity and drive to get the devices, we probably wouldn't have had the amount of data that has been so vital in supporting the Parish Council and everyone else in getting this bid through, which thankfully has gone through, and hopefully we'll be all looking forward to a lorry-free future. And where does that go from here? Well, now the ban's in progress, we won't stop, because obviously once the ban is in progress, if anything does come to our notice, then we'll continue to inform the companies and hopefully the police as well. And also there's still other work to do, like get the 30-mile-an-hour speed ban across the green. We had the monitor on the green for some time, monitoring speeds and the amount of traffic through, so we've got all that data. If anyone decides that that's something that we should go for, and obviously if the future includes a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit through the village, then we'll still have all the data and everything necessary for any applications or bids in the future.
Again, I think speeding will be the next thing, once we get the
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will.
We have done that LHI bid for the 30-mile-an-hour there. We've had the meeting.
Great.
But we'll just wait. It's going to go to the Highways Committee in May, June. But they haven't got a highways officer at the moment.
And
So,
I'll email that to you, Nicola.
thank
Yeah.
you. So
Andy
hopefully,
gave me a week's worth, which was enough to support the need. Every little helps.
I'd love to say that it was received positively and that the County Council are definitely going to implement it.
Well,
I'd love to say that.
yes.
Neutral, I think, was the response. At least with the traffic ban, we did have some response from councillors who were at that meeting. This one was a lot more neutral.
What for this?
But we'll see. We'll see. We won't write it off. If it doesn't succeed this year, we'll go for it again.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if it doesn't succeed and you've got to go through it again, then just let us know.
They had some data
equipment
come
up there.
through, which was good.
Yeah.
Before, in time, didn't they? They did have the data. So thank you, Andy, for that. I've got a question for Andy regarding to the data logger.
Yep.
Saw you in Gravely Way the other day putting the data logger
Yep.
up, but you had headphones in.
Yep.
Was that to do with the data logger?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
That was just to keep me from being totally crazy and bored with the traffic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
it was very
I'm not really.
tuned in. Tuned into the
Yeah,
traffic
no,
noise
I
as
was
they go through.
Bluetooth into my laptop, but not. Yeah, so. Yeah, I will leave that. What the plan for that data log around for the SID is to leave that up there for a few weeks to get a baseline, because it'll be very useful after the lorry ban is finished. We're going to move it to probably the High Street, has been asked, and down Church End, to just build up a map around the village.
Yeah, great.
The speed indicator device down at the bottom at Church End, I'm loath to move it because the traffic's just so crazy down there, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Difficult to know how much it makes a difference, but you've seen the stats that come through from that. 50% of all the traffic speeds and 30% is over 35, and the people doing 70, it's just crackers. So every little helps there. But we can move that around the village as well if we think we need to slow it anywhere down. But from the data we gathered over the last few years, there isn't really any other main speeding problems. The data we found even across the green had very few speeders going over there. There's the odd maniac, you'll never stop on all the roads, but actually the sustained speeding is at that point, even in the middle of the village, there's not really a speeding issue. So putting it somewhere to deter, I can't see its value too much, but we're always open, as Ken said, to take input from anybody who wants to just to move it, to put it somewhere and at least get a baseline, and then we'll know.
Thank you. You heard it there, if you'd like it. If you've got an area which you think the traffic is irresponsible, a word of hat, they will monitor. So that's the end of all the reports. I expect the next item I have on the agenda is any questions? I think that's it, isn't it?
General questions.
Yeah, general questions. None submitted. Has anybody got any questions they'd like to raise this evening? In that case, thank you all for coming. We'll say farewell. Goodbye. And hopefully we'll be back next year, not on Zoom.